Good afternoon. Today is the 15th of September 2021. Welcome to the lunchtime news here on TV1. For the News First team, the voice of the people, I'm Sanita Senanayaka. Before we take a look at the stories for this afternoon in detail, let's take a look at your headlines. Chairman of the Paddy Marketing Board resigns in disgust. Decision on reopening schools to be announced this evening. Will the black fungus disease spread in Sri Lanka? Opposition leader calls on the government to remove the state minister who acted in an unruly manner at the Anuradhapura prison. In what is the latest series of a high-profile resignations, Dr. Jatal Manna Peruma, the chairman of the Paddy Marketing Board, has tendered his resignation to Agricultural Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage yesterday.
The acclaimed academic, speaking to Newsfirst, noted that he resigned as he felt implementing decisions taken by those above him was unwise. He added that he could not, with a clear conscience, be happy with backing such imprudent decisions. The Paddy Marketing Board comes under Agriculture Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage and State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa. The board is responsible for the purchase, sale and supply of grain products and maintaining distribution activities. The Paddy Board must also ensure buffer stocks are maintained in order to ensure food security. In early September, Dr. Asoka Gunaratna stepped down from the Intercollegiate Technical Committee of the Director General of Health Services. Before that, senior consultant physician attached to the Infectious Diseases Hospital, commonly known as IDH, Dr. Ananda Vijay Vikrama, resigned from the same committee, noting that decisions taken by the said committee are not the decisions that were being implemented. More recently, Ishini Wickramasinghe stepped down as the Director General of the National Zoological Gardens in what is widely believed to be a move in protest of the return of elephants at a protection zone to their former owners.
මේ හැම ක්‍රියාවලියකදීම රටට පාඩු කිරුවා බිස්නස් එකක් හදලා දුන්නා.
All these actions cost the country. These actions have set up businesses, but the government did nothing about it. Now 56,000 kilos of garlic are being imported to the island through illegal means. Recently, the government made a decision to import organic fertilizer from China. Based on this decision, samples of organic fertilizer were brought to the country and were rejected. Now we have received information that the government is trying to import organic fertilizer despite experts rejecting it. P.V. Jayasundara has ignored experts' recommendation and has arranged means to import it. Under these circumstances, many government officials have resigned from their positions. We don't know how many more will resign because of owning to their stubborn moves. Today it was reported on news that the chairman of the Paddy Marketing Board, Jatal Manna Peruma too, has resigned. It was reported that he is resigning because he cannot implement the unwise decision made by the government. Mahindananda should understand that there is no major issue concerning paddy or rice in the country. But why did the chairman of the Paddy Marketing Board resign? They are disappointed. If you are brave enough, come and tell those things in front of farmers. This is not much of an issue for them. But this has raised many concerns among the public.
අපි ගොවියෝ එකතු කරලා දෙන්න. ඒ හින්දා ඊගොල්ලන්ට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. හැබැයි මේ රටේ සාමාන්‍ය ජනතාවට ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා.
The Mahasanga and representatives of the farming community who stepped forward to save the Parakrama Samudra visited Venerable Muruttettuwe Ananda Thero today. During the visit, the Mahasanga noted that instead of constructing a walking path, the state must make efforts to ease cultivations. The state must make efforts to ease cultivation activities. Previous governments have built many walking paths in Polonnaruwa, but farmers do not need to engage in exercises. Start a project to provide water from the Manampiti river for cultivations and resolve the water issue. People have large barrels opposite their homes to collect water when the bowsers arrive. These are not necessities but requirements of a small portion. We have always criticized what is bad and praised what is good. We did not appoint a government for this. Our campaign slogan was that the country is in disarray. We can clearly see that we tossed away what is bad and replaced it with what is worse. If an election is held, you will clearly see how the people feel. UN Resident Coordinator in Sri Lanka, Mahasanga, says it is the duty of the state to protect the rights of prisoners. In a tweet, the UN Resident Coordinator said, quote, "It is the duty of the state as per the Mandela rules to protect the rights of prisoners, end quote. She further said, quote, "In our work on prison reform and drug rehabilitation, UN Sri Lanka works to strengthen capacities to uphold the rights of all those in custody and condemns if any ill treatment of prisoners," end quote. In more local news, Ajit Niwad Cabral is due to assume duties as the 16th governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka today.
He was reappointed as the CBSL governor by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Ajit Niwad Cabral previously served as the State Minister of Money and Capital Market and State Enterprise Reforms, and he resigned from his SLPP national list seat to take up the post of governor of the central bank. Ajit Niwad Cabral, who is a veteran chartered accountant, served as the ministry secretary and as the central bank governor for 9 years.
In more local news, speaking at a media briefing today, Deputy Director General of Health Services Dr. Hemant Herath said patients infected with the black fungus disease have been identified from several hospitals across the country. He further added that a minor number of COVID-19 patients have also contracted the black fungus disease. Yes, although patients with the black fungus disease were discovered, they were not COVID-19 patients. However, by now, a few patients have been infected with it.
What causes the black fungus?
The black fungus is a disease which exists in the environment. One might contract it in that manner if his or her immunity is relatively low, especially those who are diabetic or are suffering from kidney-related diseases. Such people are most vulnerable. The risk of disease spreading is higher if people with such low immunity exist in society. That is why we are at this juncture now. Those with lower immunity will contract even COVID-19 followed by other complications. Therefore, the risk of such people contracting black fungus too is higher.
How does the black fungus spread?
The probability of this spreading from one patient to another is very low. Moreover, it does not spread from one human to another. A person with low immunity might contract it from the external environment. I'm not saying we should not fear this. We need to protect ourselves. However, it will not become an epidemic. In more COVID-19 related news, a special discussion between the Minister of Health and education authorities will be held today to look into the reopening of schools that have been closed for a prolonged period due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Minister of Health Keheliya Rambukwella said in-depth discussions will be held regarding reopening of schools and what steps should be followed in this regard. According to the Health Minister, the authorities are expected to reach a final consensus regarding the age limit with regard to the vaccination of school students. The discussion will get underway at the Health Ministry this evening, and the decisions reached during the discussion will be presented to the COVID-19 task force, which will convene on Friday under the patronage of the President. Leader of the opposition Sajith Premadasa has called on the President to immediately remove the State Minister who acted in a disgraceful and illegal manner at the Anuradhapura prison complex. Issuing a tweet, the opposition leader said he vehemently condemns the disgraceful and illegal act of the State Minister at the Anuradhapura prison.
The tweet notes this disgusting and unlawful act amply exemplifies the anarchical situation that exists in our country. It adds, and I quote, "This unlawful and despicable act is a further illustration of the precipitous decline in the present human rights situation in our country," unquote. In another tweet, the Tamil National Alliance has called on the government to immediately remove the State Minister of Prison Management and Prisoners Rehabilitation and have him arrested and charged after an immediate inquiry for allegedly threatening to kill prisoners in the Anuradhapura prison on Sunday, the 12th of September. The Tamil National People's Front also confirmed the incident. Issuing a tweet, leader of the Tamil National People's Front, Gajendra Kumar Ponnambalam says, and I quote, "The TNPF can confirm that on the evening of the 12th of September, the State Minister for Prisons has gone to the Anuradhapura prisons, summoned the Tamil political prisoners and had got 2 of them to kneel in front of him. The State Minister had then pointed his personal firearm at them and had threatened to kill them on the spot." Unquote. Gajendra Kumar Ponnambalam notes that the TNPF condemns this behaviour. Attempts made by Newsfirst to inquire on the matter from State Minister of Prison Management and Prisoners Rehabilitation, Lohan Ratwatta, proved futile.
In more local news, the Court of Appeal decided today to examine a petition filed by the Commission to protect local businesses on the failure to prove the non-implementation of directives issued by the central bank to provide debt moratoriums to small and medium-scale businesses.
Private banks and financial institutions have continued to defy the recommendations of the government and the Central Bank of Sri Lanka to protect small and medium enterprises in the face of the April 2019 attacks and the countrywide COVID-19 situation. President's Counsel Udit Galaheva, appearing for the petitioners, pointed out to court that businesses have collapsed and the livelihoods of over 5 million people have been disrupted due to this. The Court of Appeal issued notice to the respondents in this petition today, namely the Minister of Finance, the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, the Governor of the Central Bank and the Non-Financial Director of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka and the Monetary Board.
4 suspects have been arrested by the Sri Lanka Navy for possessing 9 kilograms and 914 grams of crystal meth at the Urumale beach in Talemana. The arrest was carried out based on a tip-off received by the Sri Lanka Navy, and the operation was carried out by the Urumale beach by officers of the North Central Naval Command. Sri Lanka Navy stated that the street value of the stock of narcotics is around 79 million rupees. It added that the suspects have attempted to bring these narcotics to the island and 10 parcels of the drugs were seized inside the vessel during the operation. Suspects are residents of Urumale in Talemana. Suspects and the vessel used have been handed over to the Mana police for further investigations. An indigenous leader of the Dalukana village in Dimbulagala commenced a fast unto death, demanding the authorities to eradicate the drug menace in her village.
The fast is being staged by K. Lisinona, an indigenous leader. She commenced her fast opposite the Vulakanapatini Devalaya at 6 this morning. The fast is being carried out demanding authorities to take swift action against those people who produce moonshine in her village. There is moonshine and cannabis everywhere in my village. Even people who are involved in other good jobs have started consuming these now. Many villagers have died because of the use of moonshine. Around 175 families are ruined because of this. Please do something about this.
The UN General Assembly celebrates the International Day of Democracy today. In your international news, a senior Taliban official has told foreign media on a major row broke out between leaders of the Taliban over the makeup of the group's new government in Afghanistan. Foreign media reported that the argument between the group's co-founder Mullah Abdul Ghani Badr and a cabinet member have occurred at the presidential palace in Kabul. There have been unconfirmed reports of disagreements within the Taliban's leadership since Badr disappeared from public view in recent days. A senior Taliban member based in Qatar and a person connected to those involved also confirmed that an argument had taken place late last week. The sources said the argument had broken out because of Badr. The new deputy prime minister was unhappy about the structure of their interim government. Badr reportedly believes that the emphasis should be placed on diplomacy carried out by people like him, while members of the Haqqani group, which is run by one of the most senior Taliban figures, and their backers say it was achieved through fighting. Badr was the first Taliban leader to communicate directly with the US president, having a telephone conversation with Donald Trump in 2020, and signed the Doha Agreement on the withdrawal of United States troops on behalf of the Taliban. However, these reports have been officially denied by the Taliban. And that brings us to an end of this edition of Lunchtime News here on TV1. For more details about these stories and much more, you can simply log on to our website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First team, I've been Sanita Senanayaka. Take care and stay safe.